Hey y'all, I'm Allie. Welcome to Little Hill Homestead. In 2025, we are doing a series called Back to the Basics. And these are going to be commercial products or things that you can make yourself and not buy at the grocery store. Some of them do require a grocery store item to get them started, like a starter. And that is the case for today. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make homemade yogurt. Yogurt is basically made using cultures. And so the very first time you make it, you need to get yourself a really good, clean quality, plain yogurt. I got Nancy's, I got the whole milk yogurt with probiotics from Azure just because we're doing a pantry challenge and I allowed myself to get certain things from Azure and this was one of them. So that is why I picked this one. I have done it with a bunch of different plain yogurts over the last few years, and anytime they have the Active Life cultures on them, it works. So if you just want to pick yourself up one from Kroger, it works too. The other thing you're going to need is milk. You can use regular old any cow's milk you want. I'm going to be using a Fairlife milk. This is a lactose free. Somebody asked me specifically to show you guys how to make it using this. The process is going to be the same for the most part for either. This is already ultra filtered, so you do not need to do the first part if you use this brand milk, but I'll show you how to do it with just regular cow's milk too. So if you're going to be using regular cow's milk, you need 4 cups of milk. You're going to be putting that into your Instant Pot. I use an Instant Pot because you have to keep the temperature consistent for a long period of time. The easiest way to do that is in an Instant Pot. I have one, I've had this thing for years. You can find them at thrift stores all the time. The only thing you're looking for is on this right-hand side, you're looking for the button that says yogurt. Some of them do not have it. Most of the new ones, if not all of them, do. It was something that was added eventually. The other thing that I recommend is on your lid, it has a rubber seal, liner, rubber, this thing, gasket. I have a specific one that I use for meats and stews and strong flavored stuff. I have this blue one that I got. It's a knockoff from Amazon. I use it for just yogurt because I don't want the flavor of other foods to be stuck in that ring and for my yogurt to pick it up. So I just swap that out really quick. So I have my 4 cups of milk in here. If you were using regular old cow's milk, you would push this yogurt button 3 times till it says boil. It's going to go through a cycle and bring your milk to a consistent temperature for long enough to kill off anything that might be in it. I'm going to turn this off because I don't want mine to boil. And it takes a little bit of time, and then you have to bring it back down to a cool enough temperature that it's not going to kill off your yogurt cultures when you put them in there. So what I usually do is I run it through the cycle. I can't remember how long it takes because it's been a minute since I've done it that way. But I want to say it's about an hour. It'll beep at you when it's done. And then what I do is I take this whole thing out and either pop it in the refrigerator or put it in an ice bath to bring the temperature back down to where it's safe to keep going. Since I'm using Fairlife and it's already had that process, I don't need to do that. So if you're using regular milk, do that process. I'll write a little bit below, a little more detailed on how to do that, but that's the basics of it, you guys. It's not complicated. I did, by the way, really, really well clean my liner. Even though I knew it was clean, I always clean it again just because I don't use this thing like every day. And so I did go ahead and clean that really well, and we're ready to go. I have my 4 cups of milk in here. If you're gonna do regular old plain yogurt, remember we're using this as our starter this time. And then every time moving forward, you'll just use some of your own yogurt to start the next batch. So this is a one-time investment, and honestly, you can get the little tiny container from like the grocery store, the single serving size one, because you only need 4 tablespoons of it. Like I said, I just picked this one because I could get it from Azure, but 4 tablespoons is gonna be going into here. I remembered a spatula. I know I freak you guys out when I leave stuff in containers and don't use spatulas, and it's a whole thing. So we're just gonna put that in there, and I just give it a little swirl, mostly just to clean off my spatula. Okay. Now, if you're gonna be doing just plain yogurt, that's it. You would then proceed with pushing the yogurt button and continuing the yogurt cycle. We tend to like a sweetened, more vanilla type yogurt because we eat it for breakfast with berries. And so this is the easiest way for me to do it. If I do plain, I will add jellies and jams to it to sweeten up in the morning, like strawberry jam mixed into it. And it's kind of like the fruit on the bottom type yogurts when you do it that way. We like vanilla. It's the one that our family will eat the most, so that's what I'm going to be making. I use, and I know there's other ways to do this. You can use maple syrup. You can use honey. You can use your sweetener of choice. I'm using half a can of sweetened condensed milk because it's what we have done and found that we like the best. So half a can, and then the other half I'll use for something else. The next thing you need is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. This is a vanilla that we made using, it's an alcohol-free vanilla. What's that stuff that we used? I can't remember. I'll try to link it below. But it's basically an alcohol-free vanilla. No reason for it. It's just what I prefer. Whoop. What is that stuff called? I'll remember it right when it's over, but it's the only one I have currently like ready to go. So that's why we're using it. I'm gonna take my whisk and I'm just gonna whisk in my sweetened condensed milk, my yogurt, my vanilla, and get it kind of all incorporated before we hit go. Like I said, use your sweetener of choice. Leave it out if you don't want it and use jellies or jams, or on the other side, if you just use plain yogurt, you can use berries and sweeten it up with whatever you want on that side. I'm just not a fan of plain yogurt unless it's for like tzatziki or in sauces and stuff like that. We don't do a lot of plain yogurt. So you can, by the way, use the sweetened one to restart a new batch. It doesn't matter. If you wanted to use the sweetened to make a plain batch, you still can. It will taste like plain. It's diluted enough that you're fine. All right. Give that a tap. I'm going to put my lid on and we're going to close it up. You're going to seal it so that it holds the heat in and just push yogurt. You want to do it until, so there's a couple options here. It's automatically going to come up for 8, or if you push it twice, it's going to take you to 10, and you can adjust it from there. I do 9 hours to get the right creaminess and tanginess that I prefer. You can do 9 to 12 hours. The longer it goes, the thicker it's going to get, more like a Greek yogurt, but it's also going to increase the tang of the yogurt if you do it that way. So I go with 9, and then tonight, it's morning time right now, I'm going to let this run its course. It's just going to sit here all day doing its thing. Make sure it's kicking on. There we go. Let it run its course, do its thing, and as long as you do it 8 hours, you're set. But like I said, if you want more of a really tangy yogurt, go with 12 hours. If you want less tangy and more creamy, go with 8 to 9 hours. That's kind of where we end up. So we're just going to let that run its course. It's sealed. It's doing its thing. Basically, all it's doing is bringing your milk up in temperature to a consistent temperature for a long extended amount of time. And that lets all those little cultures do their little magic, like we did with the sour cream recently. Same idea. I know on the sour cream, a lot of you guys got confused because I was talking about Nancy's sour cream. You didn't have to use Nancy's on that one. It could be any sour cream. Same with this one. Any yogurt, as long as it's got, so if you look at the directions, not the directions, if you look at the ingredients, it's going to say live yogurt cultures. And often it will tell you the kinds. As long as it says live cultures, like you can't just go use a Go-Gurt. That's not going to usually work for this. You know, I don't know if it'll work. Maybe it will. But pick yourself a good quality one. This is just your starter one. Remember, it's a one-time investment, right? So this is just going to go. And I will come back and check in with you once it's ready to strain off so that I can show you what it looks like. I know a lot of people have asked me, can you do this without an Instant Pot? I personally haven't figured out a way to that isn't super labor intensive. So this is just what I do. So I would find one at a thrift store. Honestly, I see them all the time for under $10. And if you eat yogurt often enough, it's totally worth the investment. They also go on sale a lot. But I'm just gonna let it run its course. I'm gonna go clean it up and I'll see you tonight. Okay, it is the tail end of the night and this is finally done. What I do once it completes is just remove the lid like you normally would. It doesn't build pressure, so you don't need to like vent it. this can be good to go as is. So that's our yogurt as is. I like it a little bit thicker, more like a Greek yogurt. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit of whey still trapped. It's kind of floating on the top. I like to take a strainer and put it in the fridge overnight in this strainer. So this, guys, you guys have seen me use this a million times. It's basically like a colander. That's what I'm using it as. This little doohickey is called a nut bag. Great name. And what it is for nut milk. If you were to make oat milk or almond milk or anything like that. I am going to go ahead and put that.
Doohickey or nut bag? Which one's a great name?
Both. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great names, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here to line this so that it catches our yogurt. And I'm just going to scoop my yogurt. I'm going to loosen it up a little bit with my spatula. And so the consistency as is great. It's like a thin yogurt. I want to get it a little thicker. So I'm going to run it in here overnight and let it just catch any whey that comes out. No way. All right, there we go. Most of the time I just leave it like that. Every once in a while I do it a little thicker. But overall, you can eat it right now. It's still warm, so I'd give it a little bit of time. But as you can see, it's already starting to drip the whey out. So I'm gonna put a piece
No way.
I'm gonna put a piece of plastic on top of this just so that it doesn't get funky. You guys know how much I just love my cling wrap container. We're almost out of this thing. It's taken us 75 years. Somebody told me the one from Kirkland is great. And I was like, dude, it would last us 95 years. So like, that's not happening. But I just take a piece of plastic wrap and just set it so that it sits on the top of my yogurt and creates a skin so it doesn't get funky. So I'm just gonna put this into my refrigerator for over the night. And I'll check back in tomorrow to show you guys the final consistency.
Sorry, got to kick a ball.
There's a ball. So we'll see you tomorrow morning. I can never guarantee that I will be dressed for the day or anything. I might just want yogurt for breakfast, and it is what it is. So there you guys go. We're just going to let it strain. Let's do its job, though. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Good morning. It's bright and early the next day. I just got up, had coffee, and I figured I'm going to have yogurt for breakfast. So let me show you what it turned out like. I did dump a little of our whey off last night, but here's some of it. I didn't want it to get where it couldn't strain. So in total, we got just over a cup of whey that came off of our yogurt. So all that I do, and this is why I love using this little thing, is I lift this out. I'm just gonna push that to the side and then just get whatever container you want. This is the largest Tupperware in the entire world, but it's what I could reach. I didn't want to climb on the counters yet this morning. I just take my little plastic off the top, and then all I'm gonna do is flip our yogurt right into our container. Now I let this go a little longer than I typically do because I kind of wanted to see what the texture would turn out like. Scraping my little bits off there. I kind of wanted to see what the texture would turn out like. And y'all, it is thick. But it's definitely more like a Greek yogurt. I would probably let it strain for a couple hours versus all night next time. But let me show you the final. There's our final texture. Isn't it pretty? It is super duper creamy this way. Definitely a little thicker than I would traditionally eat it. But if you're gonna add like jam to it or jelly to like add a fruit flavor or add a little bit of maple syrup or honey to it, this texture might be okay. But it is very, very thick this way. So next time, I'll probably strain it for like an hour to 2 hours next time versus all night. But there you guys go. There's our yogurt. For the 4 cups of milk that we use, let's see how much we ended up with. Plus, I did get a lot of whey off of it. I'm gonna put this into a little jar I have over here. Okay. If it's too thick, you could add some of that whey back in too. Okay, let's see if it's glorious. Get a different spoon for this part. So remember, we started with 4 cups of milk and then a little bit of starter. How much yogurt did we end up with is what I want to know. Help if I looked at the right side. We ended up with just about 3.5 cups after we strained out all that whey. So there you guys go. That's our yogurt. That's how we make yogurt. I know there's lots of different ways to make yogurt. Well, the next time I go to make yogurt, I will save the same 4 tablespoons like we did with the starter we started with this time, but I will just use mine next time. And then I don't have to buy yogurt anymore. I will just use milk, my own yogurt culture that we've now created. And I have used this over and over and over. I have not found that it starts to lack potency. I've heard that from some people. Haven't found that to be an issue. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I have no idea. There's something else super important, but it's too early in the day for me to start. So I don't know, you guys. I'm going to go serve myself a little bit of this. We have some homemade granola in the cabinet that I'm going to put a little bit on that's got some fruits in it. Maybe some sliced up strawberries that I've got in the fridge. Sounds good to me. Can't complain. All right, well, go make our yogurt. If you have any questions, comment below. I'm always here for you. If I don't answer comments, Sean is now answering comments too. He tries his best. If he doesn't know, he just leaves them for me. So there you guys go. Appreciate you as always, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye, guys.